Well, Javier, today what we're going to see is kind of an interesting example. In this case, what we're going to show is how to extend the metadata of the XPO ORM. So everyone knows that, well, to create a persistent class, you make your own class, you derive from one of the base classes, and then you have like a table that is a reflection of the class that you created. So most people think that you actually need the class, but this is not true. In the end, all the classes are just like some type of models that XPO will use to create the XPDictionary, which is the part of XPO who handle like how are the tables or classes modeled. So here we have a really interesting article. This was modified like not so far ago, but this is a really old article, at least 18 years old, even though it looks like it's kind of new, but it's not. So here the idea, they tell you like, okay, if you want to like extend your XPDictionary on runtime, you can create your own base class. Here they show Visual Basic and C#. And then you create your dictionary. And in the dictionary, you have the ability to create classes like this. You create a class, you pass the base class for that new persistent class and the name. And then you create members to those classes like this. And these members will be, or tables will be created or not, depending on your how to create settings. So if you have like a schema already exists, it will not create anything. It will just kind of try to map. So here is the same example on Visual Basic. And here you have this magic method. They tell you here that you can get any of the data store provider, which in the end you can cast to a connection provider SQL. And then you have two methods. Get a storage table list and get tables. One will return from the database the list of tables, and one will return the structure of the tables. And once you have that, you can pass that to the dictionary and just generate the metadata in runtime, which means that you don't need to create persistent classes to bind your XPO ORM to data. You can just do it in runtime if you want. So let's put all of this into practice. So here I have that idea create but it's like I put it in a XAF application. Even though XAF is not needed at all, I just did it because I was super lazy to create the UI by hand. So ignore all the XAF things. Here, the only thing important is this dummy class, which is something that I will use to have a navigation item. So when I click on that, I will go to a list view. Then I have this persistent class, which is my base. I inherit from XP Lite, so I can create my own key. And then this base controller here, which is really interesting because it's kind of really simple. There's only one single choice action. And in the action on the unactivated, what we do is we get a connection string. This can be a connection string to any database that you have available that is supported by XPO, and you said a schema already exists. Then you create your own reflection dictionary, which is a child class of the XPDictionary. Then you can tell, once you get the connection provider, you can cast it. Have those two methods, get a storage table list. This will return an array of names of tables. And this method will return the DB table, the structure of the table with the constraints, the length of the fields, and everything. After that, I'm going just to iterate and put them in the single choice action items. And then I will add this class to the reflection dictionary. So here I'm sure I'm doing that code. It's a copy paste code from what I show you in the article. And that's basically it. Then I have in the platform level something kind of really easy. This is a a controller that inherit from the previous controller that I just showed you. And here I have just one method on the controls created that get the grid view. So I can set the data source. See how easy it is. I get the XP collection that I created in the method before, and then I clear the columns and I populate the columns, and that's it. And when to show you where the class is being created is when the action, single choice action is selected. I get the selected item, then I create a new data layer. I pass the reflection dictionary that we populated before, and the data store provider, so the XPO provider. Then I create a unit of work. Then I tell like get class info. I have the class info here, so I don't have a exact class to map the data that I'm going to show. So I'll just get it from the dictionary through the class info. And then I basically create an XP, an XP collection, which is just a normal XP collection. So let's run this. And you'll see the magic here. And it's loading, loading, loading. And let's wait a little bit. So there is no classes defined on this XAF application. And everything that I'm going to show you is going to be mapped to that database that I show you here. So if I go to the dummy class, that is a non-persistent class that I only use to have the navigation item. Here I have the single choice item, action, sorry, single choice action. So here I have the name of all the tables that that database contains. So I look through all of them. So I can show you the customer data. If I want to do a different one, let's do object types. I can show you category. And anything like that, model difference. I cannot open this because this not lead to any detailed view. I replace the data here. So just to show you that this is actually happening on runtime, I will get a different database. So let's do, well, all of these have the kind of the same table. So let's see. Okay, this has cliente in Spanish. So let's rename this, get the name. And let's go to the controller and replace it on the connection string from Studio, is this one. So let's go to the controller, replace the connection string. So instead of going to this database, it's going to go to this one. Now you will see different type of entities there. So let's wait a little bit. Login. And let's go to my navigation item. So now the tables here are different. You see cliente and factura like in Spanish. And that's the data, Javier and me, and inputs. So that's it. As you can see, like if you know the internal working on XPO, you can basically do magic. You don't even need the persistent classes, and you can generate the persistent classes on the fly. So it's kind of a really neat approach. All of this has been there since day one, but usually sometimes you want to have like a magic feature, like, okay, like I'm going to map this on runtime, but it usually doesn't work like that. But XPO and XAF is both are powerful enough to handle all these type of scenarios. You just need to dig a little bit deeper on the support center and in the documentation. And even though these examples are old, because this is like 18 years old, it's as valid today as it was 18 years ago. And the beautiful thing is that the code is exactly the same. So it has not changed. I tried this like on my first job, actually. So imagine how a stable XPO design can be.
Actually,
So
I just want to add that this really opens our mind to the possibility that if you know how things are working under the hood and if you know how to modify the dictionary, you can do really, really dynamic things at runtime and be like, this was the base for the XPO extender to add classes and add members and so on. So it
yes,
definitely opens your mind because you just change the connection string and you will do, and you see that you have a different set
and,
of
and see,
entities to
this is
play
like
with it.
it's dynamic data. It's like where a lot of people complain that XPO or XAF is kind of too stiff, that you cannot change it. But this data is totally dynamic. It's coming from a different database. If I have a combo box for setting the database name, I can even navigate to different databases with different schemas that I don't know at the design time moment, only at runtime. So imagine how powerful it is.
All right, as always, it's a beauty. All right, thank you for watching and see you
Okay,
in the next video.
in the next one.